even though it's bad going to jail, I don't feel that, you know what I mean? I benefited through that shit right there. I benefited through youth authority. I benefited through the penitentiary shit like that. I learned the things and sharpened my mind up through them. Them two places right there, bro. So that's a reality. That was in my life. That's what I did. I was at White 7 years, bro. Gotta think about it. I was there 7 years, bro. For real, nigga at the worst part of shit, nigga, where niggas, average nigga couldn't even survive that struggle as being a blood, bro. That's what I'm saying. So that's a big part of me, man. You know what I mean? And that's when I knew that when I was there, we didn't fight each other. You know what I mean? We never fought. We always was tight knitted. You know what I mean? Together. You know what I mean? The blood. So that's like some of the best shit of my life. You know what I mean? Even though I was in YA, but that's some of the best shit in my life of how united this shit that I'm claiming, you know what I mean, was and all that. That was a big part of my life, big dog. You know what I mean? For real. And I can't shy away from that because I'm gonna always give that, you know what I mean, notice because I'm still here, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to jail today and shit like that, you know what I mean? So, you know, when I look back on that, you know what I mean? Because you ain't gonna be nothing if you don't look back, especially if you're a motherfucker that have been in trouble and going to jail and shit. If you don't look back on your past and what took you to that place and if you don't look back on that right there, bro, you know what I mean? You gonna be fucked up, bro. On the real, you got to. Because, you know what I mean? You got, no matter who you is, the hardest motherfucker gotta look back on something, you know what I mean, that took him to, cause I hated jail all my life, nigga. On the real though, but I always was there. But yeah, that's just, you know, that's just how I feel about that part right there.
But when you was in there, what did you learn about financial though? How did you survive and get money while you was there the whole time?
In jail?
Yeah.
I like to say this though, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm gonna find a way to hustle everywhere I'm at, man. Listen, man, I'm nationwide with it, man. You know, man. Of course, I go with this though. Of course, my mom, if I have nobody else, from the time since I went to youth authority, if I have nobody else in this world, my mom is gonna make it make sense, and my bro Lurch, they gonna make it make sense no matter what. Now, what I do outside of that, you know what I mean? I got my own little things, you know what I mean? I might got a female or two or whatever, you know what I mean? Really, truthfully, I don't know why I didn't starve in that motherfucker, cause I was a selfish motherfucker though, on the real, to keep it 100. I was a selfish motherfucker, nigga. I ain't even gonna lie to you, cause I was the type of nigga, I do the crime, I do the time, right? But I think like this, nigga, I'm gonna be the one doing the time, so I'm not giving a motherfucker nothing. You know what I mean? That's why I really didn't even respect money, you know what I mean? I was having abundance, a lot of money and shit. I always get, you know what I mean, have my cars and this, that, and all that, but on hindsight, if I look back at it, I didn't like me because I was selfish. I was a selfish motherfucker, so I was unable to keep money at a long rate, you know what I mean, and respected it, you know what I mean, and put shit away and all. I wasn't never into that type of shit right there, you know what I mean, on the real. But that was being selfish because, you know what I mean, I was only for me. You know what I mean? Basically for me. Of course, you know what I mean, I had kids, you know what I mean, or whatever, and I might, you know what I mean, throw it, but I really was for me, you know what I mean? I wasn't treating girls right, none of that type of shit, bro. I wasn't doing none of that. That's why I say I'm really like one of the lucky ones because the man up above always been in my life. I know that for sure because, man, I should have been doing bozo bad, man, on the real though, man, on the real. I wasn't really a nice dude. You know what I mean? I don't mean that about being a killer or nothing like that. I mean, I wasn't a nice dude as far as, you know what I mean, looking out for somebody or, you know what I mean, a significant other and all that. I wasn't good with that. You know what I mean? I didn't feel, nah, hell nah. Because what if I go to jail and I'm going to jail? So what if I go to jail and you gonna cheat on a nigga and all that? I always thought 5 steps ahead. So I'm like, I ain't doing none of that. You know what I mean? On the real.
When you look back and you was doing time though, how was it seeing people that was in relationships and how did that work out?
When I was doing time, and like a homie in a relationship? Or what? What you mean? What you say?
Like,
how was that doing what?
Hey, but if you hit the ball,
niggas who doing times and niggas in relationships, how do that work?
You didn't think I was gonna say that.
Well, you know what? truthfully, you know what I mean? Shit, I done seen both sides of it though. But what fuck up a relationship, bro? I'm gonna tell you the number one thing that fuck up a relationship with a dude and nigga. If you out there on the streets and you out there dealing with this girl and that girl and she knowing all that and you taking her through the bullshit, right? If the girl love you, right, she still give you an extra chance. When you go to jail, she'll still be there for you and everything. But you know what we do? By her, by us thinking that she done got over the fact that I done had a baby on her or I done did this, that, and other, you go back to that zone like, I'm the man, you the woman type shit. You feel what I'm saying? While you're in jail, so you get to pushing like, she don't even know about this baby out here, and she not heard about this, that, and that. So motherfucker get to still pushing, talking that shit to her like, bitch, you still my bitch, cussing her out, all that. You gonna lose her, bro. You know what I mean? It's over with. That's over. But I do see, you know what I mean, relationships where, you know what I mean, they just in a relationship and they get their visits all the time, you know what I mean? You can do it. You can do it, you know what I mean? Just make sure if you doing it with somebody, if you in a relationship with a female and she running for you and she making sure you eating and she making sure it's money on that phone and she makes sure all the shit that the qualification, she answer your phone calls, all that, just make sure you do good by that girl, for real though. That's what I really know, because when you don't do good by somebody that's good to you like that, when you down and out and at your worst, you're going to have buzzer luck when you get out there. You'll never be right. Trust me, on the real. Make sure you take care of her, because you got them like that. You know what I mean? I done seen it. You got them like that. You got to be into her, man. You can't be playing no games, you know what I mean, while you in there telling her, blowing smoke up her ass and all that, knowing when you get out, every girl going to catch your eye. You do that, you ain't going to have no good luck. On the real. Trust me. I know that for sure, bro.
How many homies like you seen probably had failed relationships while they was doing time?
Man, I seen, man, you gotta think. You gotta think. I'm in the fold, so I be seeing motherfuckers just be doing just shit for fun. You know what I mean? Now, like you saying, the real relationship, I done seen, you know what I mean, good relationship with motherfuckers, and that's what they do, man. They don't do all the other funny shit. They, you know what I mean? They go on their family visit, they do all that shit, you know what I mean? But the ones that play games, they ain't even got no responsibilities about nothing. They don't care. You know what I mean? They doing that. They got fat bras and they, you know, they got the game about the shit, you know what I mean? They got the whole total game about the situation, you know what I mean? What get them through, you know what I mean? So you can't knock that, you know what I mean? You see homies that be in relationships, then next thing you know, few more years later, you know what I mean, you run back into them, he was somebody totally different. They been, bro, you know, so it's just a game in there, bro, you know what I mean? And it's on both sides, though, you know what I mean? Because these females, you know, because these niggas be taking care of these bras out here, you know what I mean? For real, for real. You know what I mean? They be taking care of them out here, you know what I mean? Through the game that they got in there, you know what I mean? And they eat good, but then you got them, you know, you got these, and you asked me one of these times about why females be always in some shit, messy shit. That shit too. Niggas be taking care of these bras, man. These bras be running off with niggas' monies and all kind of shit, man. On the real though. Oh, little petty ass money, man. You know what I mean? But that's why females be always in some bullshit, you know what I mean? Because they think they too nickel slick. They want to hang out with niggas and all that type of shit, you know what I mean? And, you know, drinking and smoking, all you can't. What's out here besides getting in trouble? You know what I mean? Niggas allowed, you know what I mean? Because niggas ain't turning down nothing between a girl legs like that. You know what I mean? These niggas don't give a fuck. So that's going to always keep a female in everything, bro.
Swing at everything.
That's going to always keep them in everything, for sure.
Majority of beef starts, you know, over a woman. Why do you feel that?
Because one thing a female do, soon as they get mad at the nigga, he mess with this girl, you know what I mean? But he might not be messing with somebody that she talked to, or, you know what I mean? But that first thing they gonna do, they gonna go mess with your homie, nigga. Somebody right, you know what I mean, right close to you. Somebody you smoke weed with, or do something with. See, that's how vindictive they be. You know what I mean? They aim to do that right there, bro. You know what I mean? That's how beef start. Like, nigga, you supposed to be my nigga. You know what I mean? And you over here, you know, I wouldn't give a fuck if she gave you anything, nigga. You supposed to deny it. You my nigga though. You know what I mean? And there it go right there. Like, you know, niggas ain't liking that though. You know what I mean? So that shit fucked up though, man, you know what I mean? But it's always a female, man, you know what I mean? It's always
but then you got niggas who cover up gangster shit, you know, and then it's be like,
Cover up gangster shit?
Yeah, how he was gangster shit, but it's really over abroad.
Oh, nigga be back doing about the bra, don't like the bra, or they wouldn't even be speaking on shit like that. Yeah, you got niggas like that though, man. You gotta understand, man. Hell yeah. You got plenty. That's crazy though. Supposed to be gangster, it's over. They got babies by the same broad, or they mess with the same broad. Now they want to bring out a nigga fault. Boy, these niggas is cold. That's just how it go though. On the real though. But it's always a broad at the helm of it. You know what I mean? They find a way, man. They find a way, bro. I'm telling you.
But how is it working in their favor, or is it working against them?
Hell yeah, man. What, the female?
Whoever.
Well, first it's working against the dudes though, because if they make it a beef out of that, you know what I mean? If they make a beef out of that, then they gonna get the worst out of it. You know what I mean? Because it can go to that part where one in jail and one dead. You see what I'm saying? That's the worst part, and the female's still out there. You see what I'm saying? What, you know, what part you feel me? But I'm gonna tell you though, down the line, it's gonna come to it though, you know what I mean? Being like that and doing stupid ass shit like that, you know what I mean? That's scandalous shit though, bro. Why the fuck would you go? Listen, I respect a female more, you know what I mean? Go mess with somebody I don't even know, you know what I mean? Or none of that, don't. Come on, bro, how you gonna mess with somebody that's right down the street with me, you know what I mean? And we sitting here, now you got me thinking some other shit. That's why a nigga be on another nigga, you know what I mean? That shit dumb as fuck, bro. That's why niggas be on niggas, that's how it be happening, you know what I mean? Because you gotta look at the circumstances. Damn, she my bro, we right here, you know what I mean, or whatever, and we done been around this nigga, you know what I mean? We popping the woo. Damn, now I don't know if y'all got eyes for each other, or this nigga was plotting on this end for you to just go to, you know what I mean? You man, and you know who I am. And, come on, bro, that shit is stupid, bro. On the real.
Like, how often was that happening back in your days though, where homies would share the same baby mama?
Not like it is now though. Hell no, not like it is now. It probably not like it is. Not that I know of like that. Like, you know what I mean? Now I know like the little rip dudes and a homie that had the same baby mama and all that old type of shit. You know what I mean? I know that, but in house, you know what I mean? Nah, I think that came like later. Like, you know what I mean? A homie might have had a baby bar. You know what I mean? Like 10 years, 15 years later, or whatever. You know what I mean? Now, you know what I mean? Some other shit like that, but. We never had a situation like that. We wasn't, you know what I mean? That was probably the older people than us though. We never had a situation where homies try to do something to another homie over shit like that. Nah, we really didn't flow like that. You know what I mean? When I was young, before I, you know what I mean, went in and shit, yeah. We never had no situation like that, you know? But now, they do, yeah. I know a few situations like that. It's out of control, man. Niggas is, you know, hey, listen, bro. But you gotta look at it though, what is it about? It's about, you gotta think, sometimes it's about principles. Because if a nigga too cool with you, nigga, and you do some shit like that, nigga, it's principles, nigga. Fuck the bitch. You know what I mean? It's principle. But you know, me, I'm gonna get on the bitch though. You know what I mean? Off the top now. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get off the bitch. You know what I mean? Because, bitch, it's all because you see, nigga like me, I'm gonna think like that. Nigga, I'm gonna hem the bitch up. You feel me? Now, the only way a nigga could get into it if a nigga speak on it. You know what I mean? While I'm hemming the bitch up. You know what I mean? Because remind you, this really my bitch. You feel what I'm saying? Nigga, y'all just creeping or whatever is going on. Feel me? So, play your position. Stay out the way. You know what I mean? Now, once you get to running your mouth like you talking up for the bitch, then now, man, you got a situation as a man then. So, that's how I would go with that. You know what I mean? Me. So, you know what I mean? But averagely, these niggas is trying to pop niggas over bitches and all that. This shit crazy. It goes from, but you know what I mean? I'm gonna get on the bitch. You know what I mean? Now, whatever I do, it's over after that. You know what I mean? Fuck you, but stay out my business while I'm on the bitch.
Cause it's not just happening here. It's happening like everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like L.A.,
man,
San Bernardino, shit, other states, and then
But you gotta think about that. Not even that. It don't even gotta be a bitch enough. These bros is so with the bullshit, they set niggas up. They live like that, nigga. You see what I'm saying? They doing shit like that, bro. This is what they do. That's why you saying why people think they so messy, you know what I mean? I'm telling them, you know what I mean, on the real. Ain't no just because you know you love women, but nigga, you're messy because the ones that's out there setting niggas up for the next nigga and all that other shit, man, they doing all that shit, bro. They doing so they always in a loop. You know what I mean? They always thinking they extra slick, you know what I mean? On the real. I'm trying to tell you.